What's going on, guys? Jake here from the Fly Fiend. Thanks for tuning back in to another fly tying tutorial. Today we're going to be tying up this March Brown Perdigon nymph, one of my go-to patterns for my local waters. Stay tuned, I'm going to get a fresh hook in the vise and we'll get right into this tutorial. My preferred hook I like to tie this fly on is a Fly Fiend 350 WG jig hook. This is a size 16 and I have that paired up with a 3mm slotted tungsten bead in the color copper. The thread we're going to be using is UTC 70 denier. This is a dark brown. And I'm going to start my thread right behind this bead. I'm going to build up a little dam behind that bead just to make sure that it's secured properly down against that eye and it doesn't bounce around while I'm tying in this fly. I'm going to cut out my tag end there and continue making thread wraps down that shank to where the hook barb would be on a barbed hook. The first material we're tying in is our tail. And for a tail, I'm going to be using some grizzly marabou, and I'm going to be taking it from more of a hackle type feather. Nice, long, straight fibers. And I'm going to tie in a tail about the length of my body. Just like so. Make sure that's nice and centered on top. Now I can just take thread wraps, bring in these fibers up, then I can just cut out those butt ends. And just kind of clean that up, just like so. So usually I use Coq de Leon. This is an awesome little alternative, very durable. I usually use pheasant tail as well, but I kind of steered away from pheasant tail just because it tends to rip very easy and only lasts a couple fish. So I've been kind of sticking to the Coq de Leon and this grizzly marabou. You get a pretty big bag and you could find a lot of good feathers to use out of it, and you can use the marabou for other flies as well. So it's kind of a win-win situation picking up one of these packs. Next we're going to be tying in is our rib, and for a rib I'm going to be using UTC Ultra Wire. This is a hot orange, and this is in the brassy size. I'm going to get about a 4-inch piece here, and I'm going to tie this in right behind that bead on the side of the shank facing towards the camera. I'm going to tie that in all the way to the back, bring my thread all the way back up, bring my thread down about 3/4, come back up, bring it down half, come back up, you need to take about 1/4. That's going to build that nice smooth thread body. And I like to leave a little bit of a spot right here for my wire. You don't want to crowd the back of the bead too much. So when I come up with my wire, I have a little section there to put my 5-turn whip finish in, and it's going to pretty much bring my thread almost up to the rest of that body. So I'm just going to grab this thread now, or this wire now, and I'm just going to make some open spiral wraps up this thread, creating my rib. Then capture that, helicopter that out, then throw in my 4 or 5-turn whip finish. Make sure it's nice and tight. Now a little trick I've been doing with my Perdigon nymphs, if you have a little bit of thread showing there, I have like the littlest bit of thread showing, and if you put UV curing resin on that, you're going to be able to see it's going to stick out. So what I like to do is just grab a little lighter. I just like to come underneath it a couple times. Just be careful with your tail so you don't singe your tail. But it just puts a nice little, it burns out a little thread, so it keeps it super smooth. So when you put your UV curing resin on it, it's going to lay nice and flat and look sleek. So now I'm going to grab some thin UV curing resin, and I'm just going to put this over that whole body, those thread wraps. So all I'm doing here is just covering these thread wraps. I don't want to go put so much UV curing resin on this that it's going to go over the wire. I want to keep that segmented look. All I'm doing is making sure that those thread wraps are going to get shredded, and it just adds a little bit of shine to the fly as well. So I'm just going to cure this up. Just like so. Now for our wing pad, I usually use black nail polish. I've actually came across this Golf UV curing resin, and they make colors, and for this I'm going to be using a Black Magic. Awesome material, or awesome UV substitute for the black nail polish. Usually I would tie a bunch of flies up to this point, then at this point I would just put dabs of nail polish on, hoping it wouldn't run down the sides. If you've tied a lot of Perdigon nymphs, you know that struggle. And with this stuff, you can cure it right away, and it's a little bit easier to work with, and you don't have to wait that couple minutes, unlike the nail polish. So what I'm going to do is grab the bottle in one hand. I'm going to have my light in the other hand. I'm going to have my light on. What I like to do is a flash cure, and what this is I'm not going to let this sit long on the bead. With these slotted tungsten beads, they have that little opening in the back, and if you let this seep on there, it's going to seep down into that, and it's not going to create a nice dome looking wing pad. So I'm just going to get a little dab kind of come out the end of this. That's an air. One thing I noticed with these bottles, there's a lot of air pockets that come out with them. So I'm just going to put a nice dab right on top there, let it sit for literally a second, then I'm going to come in with my light. And having that light on right away really helps. And I like to keep this a little bit longer since it is a black UV resin. It's going to be harder to penetrate through it to get a good cure, so I just hold it on there for a bit. About 10 more seconds longer than I usually would if it was like a clear or something like that. So once that's nice and cure, you're good to go, and saves you a headache from doing that a bunch of times with nail polish. So hope you liked this tutorial, guys. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions about the fly or any of the materials, you can drop that down in the comment section below and I will answer them. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Thanks a lot again for watching, guys, and we'll catch you in the next tutorial.